to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone everywhere well. Peace and salutation to the Akim that's pushing his word in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Waking up the hopeful elect and risking their lives and freedoms to do so, definitely more so now than ever before. This is the brother Zion Ahmad for the GMS Detroit by Camp. And this lesson is going to be dealing with basically the so-called white man stealing the world, right? Stealing the world, stealing lands, stealing resources, all right? And basically that's what he was made to do, all right? The Lord forewarned us, prophesied of these things, right, through many prophets, all right, of how Esau, will be coming and how he's going to deal. As the scriptures say, you would know a tree by its fruit. So in knowing that, that's how we're able to identify, all right, Esau, Edom in the scriptures, all right, being no one else but the so-called white man, all right, because he fits all the characteristics, he checks all the boxes, all right, of what the Edomites would do throughout history, all right. So right here we're looking at a video, or should I say a still of a video of one of the Akim put this video in the group chat. It's a very insightful video explaining, as it's saying, right, how the U.S. stole the Middle East, the so-called Middle East, right? But and it's very on point, very accurate, and very consistent also with like I say, with the scriptures forewarned us about Esau, right? So I definitely would advise to watch the video, and then not only that, right, when you go to the channel, right, go through this guy's basically tabs, for lack of a better term, right? He has a I'm trying to say, basically just a segment, right, of videos that's dealing with how the U.S. stole, as you can see here, right? We see a consistent theme, how the U.S. stole an island, how the U.S. stole Hawaii, how the U.S. hides its secrets, how the U.S. stole Iraq, all right? The Middle East, the Philippines, so on and so forth, all right? Because, hey, first of all, Esau is a he's just that. He's a thief. He's a fugitive and a thief, right? He's on the run, trying to escape judgment, right? And he was set up, right, with the sword, which is sword, right? Should I say he was blessed with the sword, which that's a killing instrument. That's an instrument of war, right? He was blessed with this through his forefather Isaac, all right? And basically Isaac told him that, to obtain anything you want the fatness of the earth, you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to kill for it. You're going to have to go to war for these things, right? And again, that's consistent with Esau, Edom is. So let's get this right quick. Because first of all, he said he's doing what a thief would do. Real quick, this is John 10 and verse 10. It reads, "A thief cometh not, but for to kill, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy." That's all we need to do, alright? Thief, alright? Whoever this is, alright, is going to fit his characteristics, right? He's going to steal, as we just saw, right? In the clips, how the U.S. stole Hawaii, how he stole the Middle East, how he stole the Philippines, and so on and so forth, alright? And now, we got to be clear, alright? It's saying the U.S., but who runs the U.S., right? Who's basically writing all the laws and the legislation, right? Who's say it, verse 4, it says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Let's read that in the NLT. It says, then another horse appeared, a red one. His rider was given a mighty sword, and the authority to take peace from the earth. And there was war and slaughter everywhere. Facts. You know what I'm saying? It's no coincidence that what America has been, if we count, because they just have Trump celebrating for 1 year, right? The anniversary of America's independence, right? Going back to 1776, right? Which is really a nod to the birth or the founding of the what they call the Bavarian Illuminati, right? Because I believe that's where it was initiated, Bavaria, Germany, right? But the Illuminati, right? The hidden hand, that secret society, that people know about. But nothing is really, said of these individuals. But again, even these individuals are all so-called white people. Alright? But again, going back to what you want to say, America's independence, the Illuminati, the Foundation Illuminati, either way, that whole 250-year period, right? I want to say, 243 years of that 250, all right? America has been at war with somebody, somewhere, the whole time. So again, that's another nod or, check, in the box showing that Esau Edom is the so-called white man, and he runs or has authority over America, over the world, right? Because also Job 9:24 says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Just as it's saying here, it's saying that the earth, that power was given to him. You see, it was given to that rider upon that red horse, right? Which it was given by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, right? It was given by the Heavenly Father by way of the Son. Okay. So, just as something can be given, it can easily be taken away just the same. And that's going to happen soon. So right now, right, this devil, he has it. Right? He was set up to deceive the whole world. Right? Of who, God's chosen people are. What the Most High and His Son look like. He was set up just to lie about everything. Alright, to distract you, to take you off course. Chief, especially if you're an Israelite, right? Because that's who the Bible is written for. That's who this truth is concerning, right? It's concerning the salvation of Israel, which the true Israelites, the people of the Lord, are actually the so-called Negroes, Latins, and Native Americans. Right? Their bloodline, alright, according to the seed, according to lineage, right, goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who are basically the forefathers that the promises fell upon them. Okay? And that's never changed. So that's that. So, this devil was set up with the sword, right, to take peace from the earth. Alright? So to steal lands, what you gotta do? You gotta go to war. You know what I'm saying? You gotta tear up shit. Alright? And that's what he's been doing the whole time. This is not right. He's wicked. That's why he's known as the wicked, right? As not just one individual, as a people. Lord has called them the wicked, right? Pursuant to Malachi, the first chapter, right? You gonna read that for yourself. But read on, it says, but the just, right? The just being the Israelites, namely the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, right? Because the nation of Israel are the chosen people as a whole, but even within the chosen, there's a chosen, right? There's elite status amongst, right, the Israelites, all right, dealing with the first fruits, right, which is again the 144,000 men and their innumerable multitude, which make up 1/3 of the nation of Israel. Right, it says, yeah, but the just shall live by faith. Right, verse 5 it says, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine. Right, that wine is dealing with wicked philosophies, wicked doctrines, wrong doctrines. You know, basically some other way. Basically, you know, religion, Christianity, you know, politics, dealing with, you know, democracy, you know, dealing with the alternative lifestyle. Right, these are all different wines, different philosophies of the so-called white man, which again is why the scriptures say, so that it's in this man is not right. You know what I'm saying? It's not right to push, not only to do it, but you're teaching and saying it's okay. You write laws, all right, giving these people, all right, certain liberties and freedoms, so-called rights, you know, hell, to get married, you know what I'm saying, which that's off. You know, that really grinds Yahushai's gears, really inflames them, right? On some, just that alone, right? Lord can destroy all of them, you know, but this devil literally has a rap sheet that's stacked mile high, you know. That's why the scriptures say, what's that, Revelation 18? You know, that they say sins have reached unto heaven. You know, this devil, he just won't stop. You know what I'm saying? He just won't stop. He can't get right. Right? He can do everything wrong and nothing right. Right? But finish this off here. It says, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, another, you know, feather in the hat for Esau Edom. Because especially the American Edomite, they're the proudest people on this planet, without a shadow of a doubt. You know what I'm saying? The basis of man has the most pride. How that makes sense, but it just goes to show who he is. You know, it says, neither keepeth at home. Right. First of all, these devils really don't have a home. Like, where can they really call home? You know, even you know, they dwelled in Mount Seir, but prior to that, you had so-called Africans, Hamites, the Horites, right, dwelling in that land originally, or in those caves, should I say? Right? But yeah, this devil really has no culture or heritage or anything to really call his own, you know. So what does he do? He goes around, right, stealing resources, stealing land, stealing people, right? And a lot of times he would assume the identity of the people that he's basically at war with, you know. So reading on, it says, who enlarges his desire as hell. Yep. It's him taking over another land. That's him, you know, enlarging it, enlarging, basically, enlarging his home, or his basically his reach. What he has, control and say so over. It says it cannot be satisfied. That's the problem. So he'll never stop. He'll never be just that. He'll never be satisfied. He'll never be able to make amends. He'll never be able to offer him, anything to where he's just gonna stop. He's not built like that. Alright, he has an insatiable appetite. He can't have enough. He can't get enough. Right? He can't get enough blood. Right? And then also his God is basically money. So anything that makes money, he wants all of it. And rightfully so, because again, going back to the blessing, Yahweh Shai, alright, by way of Isaac. The Bible does deal with reincarnation, by the way. So, Yahweh Shai actually was Isaac, if you can receive that. But anywho, when Yahweh Shai was Isaac, he told him, hey, basically your blessing will be the fatness of the earth, but you're going to have to kill for it. You're going to have to go to war. So that's the what's the word I want to say? That's the stipulation that's involved. You can have anything you want, but he's going to have to kill for it. Alright? So this is why he can't be satisfied. Finishing this off in Habakkuk 2 and 5, it says, but gather unto him all nations. What's that? That's America. Babylon the Great. Alright? He had something. I think it was back in the late 1920s, early 1930s. You had the term the Great Melting Pot, right? Which is basically was the epithet, right, for America, alright? Which denotes the fact that you have many different nations, alright, here in America, right? You got every nation on the planet. Found him right here in America, So that's him, heaping all nations unto himself. And heap unto him all people, So you have people, nations, right? Reading on, it says, should not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Woe meaning destruction. So eventually, process of time, these nations, they gonna get fed up, right? Because everyone has a boiling point. You know what I mean? These other nations are no different. The Lord set it up to where, pursuant to Revelation 17, right around the 15th verse, that these other nations are going to hate the whore. Right? Basically, NATO and EU hate the whore being America. Right? They're going to hate the whore. Right? They're going to show their hate through warfare. Right? That's what's going to kick off, World War III. And America is going to lose. They're going to lose. This one, they're not going to rise from the ashes on this one. They're going to be destroyed by all these other heathen nations. Right? Because all the heathen nations feel this way. Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Reading on, it says, how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Right? I like this in the NLT. It says, but soon. It says, but soon there. It says, but soon their captives will taunt them. They will mock them, saying, what sorrow awaits you thieves? See that? Now you will get what you deserve. You become rich by See you about it, right? But the scripture say, whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So besides, sown nothing but warfare, bloodshed, violence. So that's what he's gonna reap. It's simple, ain't that hard, right? I just want to use this word. What does it mean to extort? Right? Extortion, the act or practice of extorting, especially money or other property. Is he not doing this? Is he not stealing lands? Is he not stealing resources? Yeah, is he not just stealing people money? Gold, right? Silver, right? Precious, stones and whatnot. Diamonds, right? That's this devil. It says the offense committed by an official engaging in such practice, a gross overcharge. Now, if he's guilty of all that, highway robbery are some synonyms. Overcharging, synonyms, yep. Let's do this. To extort, it says to obtain from a person by force, intimidation, or undue or illegal power. To gain, especially by ingenuity or compelling argument. So, again, that's this devil. That's him. So, I just want to, speak a few words on that, on Esau, how he is the devil, right? Through we can figure that out, right? Just looking at, his characteristics. How is he moving? What is he doing? Right? So, Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praises and honor and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great minister that rule well. Peace and salutation to Akim that's pushing his word. Ready for Shalom.